And good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and welcome to Dreamy Dreamland with your Sensei Alba. And what is Dreamy Dream? It is a home for this griot to tell you a story and don't believe a word I say. I know there's so many snowflakes out there in every kind of silo known to man on the YouTube platform, but don't believe anything I say. Don't get upset, don't get angry. Don't. What you should do is get involved. Get educated. Don't believe a word I say. I tell you a lot of stories, a lot of stuff, a lot of this. Don't believe anything I say. Some folks have informed me that I need not to prescribe, meaning anything. Don't believe a word I say. That's, when I say blah, 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 it have nothing to do with health or dietary supplement, nothing, right? Just blah, blah, blah. That is not a medical prescription, blah, 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 right? Don't believe a word I say. So, starting off with that. And I want to thank everyone who's been part of this lovely trip. Next March, it will be 6 years. Holy moly, right? Or May, one or the other, March or May. Soon. 6 years. Now, I pretty much have 6 years worth of stuff up there. YouTube has taken a few here and there, but really very, very few. Hasn't really. It's basically kept me down on the form of the algorithm, right? Every time I get close to 1,000 subscribers, they bounce me back to like 540, right? Now I have no idea where I'm at now, but I don't care. I don't look at any of that stuff, right? I'm just happy to be here, right? So today is going to be a bunch of stories. Top chat. Yes, I want to chat. Let's see if it goes down there. Let's see. Yeah, see if it works. Right? And remember to put it all in caps, right? Remember, if you want to get a hold of me, the dudeawake42 at Gmail, dudeawake42 at Gmail, dudeawake42 at Gmail. Right? So, let's start off with some phone calls, see if anyone answers. Oh, it's almost noon. I had a beautiful breakfast, pancakes and eggs Benedict with sausage. See if homeboy is home.
Yes, hello.
Oh, there he is.
Big Kahuna.
Yeah, Bubba. Are you back in town?
Yeah, I'm up. Yes, I'm around here, baby.
Good. So tell we're live on the channel. So we'll give everyone a little thumbnail, a nice vision of where you were and what you were doing and how beautiful and all of the above. So everyone that's getting ready to be stuck in ice and snow.
You want me to rub it in, huh?
I want you to rub it in, yeah.
So the mic is mine. The floor is mine, baby.
Yeah, the floor is yours.
Oh my God, I can hardly contain myself. Anyhow, all you people
we don't want you to
freezing
contain
your ass. Say again?
We don't want you to contain yourself. This is you uncontained.
Yeah, okay, that's what I like about you.
I can be
so
like
all
Elon
you
Musk
people freezing your asses out there,
right.
Get your password and buy yourself a ticket to go to Caribbean. Okay, so there's a big diversity. From Puerto Rico to Bermuda, Bahamas, there's like a buffet. All right, a lot of things out there.
Have you been to Puerto Rico?
Puerto Rico several times, sir.
So that is a beautiful place because you don't even need a passport.
Right, exactly. And if you want to see some all you guys with a lot of testosterone, that's where you should be going.
Yep. And the women are beautiful.
Yeah, really. And another place where you guys should be, all you guys out there, go to Saint Lucia, go to
Excuse me, sweetie.
Guadalupe. That's the action. That's where the action is. Oh,
Yeah, baby.
so you are having a breakfast at some place, right?
Yeah. I'm at yes. Thank you, dear.
All
And
right.
I just filled my coffee, so I have to make a little dam between my laptop and the coffee.
I see. Okay. So anyhow, I just came from the Caribbean 5 weeks, and the place is for all you people interested in that for real. The place is a little more expensive than I expected. The lodging is quite expensive.
Of course.
Everything they have to import from the mainland and some other places, so food is pretty much pretty expensive.
Could you not find some natives who are living in the hood and go say, hey, I'll give you $50 a week?
Well, yes, I found a Rasta dude. I stayed with some Rasta guy, okay?
Right.
And I stayed with him, and he had a little cabin. So he let me have his cabin, and he was growing ganja right behind the cabin,
Right.
doing brisk business right there and then. And so that was quite a scene.
How long did you stay there?
About 4 days, no
Right.
more than 4 days.
So, I mean, there is a way to do it if you want to do it, right?
Yes, sir. Yes. There's a way even in Tokyo to live cheaply if you want to find a way.
I mean,
There is
this
a way.
guy goes to foreign lands and then instead of getting a hotel, he stays in the airport.
That's me. Are you talking about me?
I'm talking about you. Who else am I talking about?
Well, listen. Don't tell everybody I'm cheap, okay? I mean, it's between you and me.
Yeah, this guy is cheap. I mean, beyond
Oh,
cheap.
come on, man.
He
No,
comes and
I'm
visits
beyond
me.
cheap,
He
okay?
makes
They're
me
looking for a
pay for
different word
everything.
from me, okay?
Okay.
So this guy, for real, this guy goes to Tokyo and he doesn't want to spend freaking money. He stays at the airport. How about that?
Yeah.
That's a cheap motherfucker right there.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
So, what is your? Here it is, the new year, and you. How often do you gallivant around the globe per year? Would you say?
For a year, I would say once at least. Once at least every year.
No, you do a lot more than that. I would say
No,
you.
I do it more, but if I were to add all those trips up, they would amount to a trip around the world once a year.
Oh,
But
around
I
the
take
world.
4
Okay.
4 to 5 trips
Okay.
per year.
Right, okay. And like I would say that he spends maybe 5 months not at home. Would you say?
That's me.
Right. In about 5 different places, or even more. He sometimes goes to places like in Europe, and he goes to lots of towns and cities and countries because they're right next to each other. So he.
Well, listen, I'm going. Speaking of going, today or tomorrow. I'm going to buy a ticket. I'm going to Malaysia, Ceylon, which is Sri Lanka,
Right, Sri Lanka.
and Burma. Right? Is it Burma? It has a different name now, right?
Still, everyone calls it Burma. Yes, it has Myanmar. Myanmar is what they call it now.
Yeah, that's what it is.
But those are 2 war zones.
Well, listen, yes, Myanmar, whatever, Burma, it is a war zone, but I will see how it feels, okay?
Mm-hmm.
I want to go. It's not that's to say that I will go, but Ceylon is Sri Lanka is pretty safe, and Malaysia is okay. Malaysia always has been okay.
So tell the folk where you grew up and what happened to it, and that you've been back a number of times.
Well, listen, I want to test your listeners. I want to tell them that I'm from the country that does not exist any longer.
Right.
So anybody who can guess the country's name gets 10 points from me and a free dinner in Fiji.
Right.
Okay.
But you got to get to Fiji on your own nickel.
Well, yeah, honey, and I'm not the Santa Claus here. I'm a fool, but I ain't no dummy. So I am from a country that was born in Yugoslavia.
Mm-hmm.
I was born many moons ago. I don't want. I don't want to.
We don't want to. We don't want to go there.
No. I've been 29 for.
We want to scare the girls off.
Yeah. I've been 29 for a long time. Okay. So now my official country where I'm from, my passport is from Bosnia and Herzegovina. That's otherwise it should be known as mafia state, but we don't want to. We stay positive.
Yeah, but come on, the whole Baltic is the mafia, right?
Yeah. Okay.
That's a whole nother story.
That's a whole other story. But I've been Americano for 37 years, so maybe I should start saying that I'm an Americano, baby.
Yeah, you are. You are an American. You are the archetype American. You are a. Yes. I mean, we are a country made up of diverse cultures of people who came here. And what's it say on the Statue of Liberty? Give us your homeless, your forgotten, your beat up. It'd be nice if they. I mean, America only exists because of that, the hard work of all the immigrants. It's not the white people who are building all this stuff.
Right. Well, this country attracts risk takers, so that's what's great about this country.
Well, it attracts, we aren't a melting pot. We are a salad bowl of extraordinary.
Salad bowl?
Yeah, salad bowl. What's a salad bowl? It has all these different flavors in it on top of each other. They're not mushed into one thing, one glutinous mass. No, it's all these separate things that taste better with each other. That's a salad bowl. And that's what America is.
Yeah.
If they ever really, the whole thing about, the southern border, if they were, the only way that they can get a hold of immigration is if they declare martial law and go arrest 20 million people.
Well, how feasible is that, sir?
In the United States, yeah. Well, we won't be the United States if that happens. And they would have to build their own Gaza Strip across that 800-mile border. And just let all those people go into a camp where they then have to start working in a factory for $1 a day.
Yeah.
And so, and I say that is coming soon. And if you don't like it, you can be 100% white boy born here, 20, and if you step up, you'll end up in that camp.
Yeah. Well, anyhow, all those people that are, and I'm one of those people.
And he's one of those people.
Yeah. Who bitches and complains about America, this and that, blah, blah, blah. Well, let me ship your ass to Saudi Arabia for about 1 week.
Or not even that, a half hour.
Yeah. Or let me ship your ass to maybe El Salvador, or maybe Burma,
right,
or some other place. Then we'll see how much you complain.
And it's interesting that all of those places became what they are now because of what the Western European oligarchy did to them. Fermented war, took away their resources, made them all go dog-eat-dog against each other. I mean, Africa is a great example. Look at Darfur, a place that has every kind of mineral known to man. And what do they have? A non-stop war since 1960.
Well, listen, even that example is in India.
Yeah.
India, prior to British invasion, was leading the world in many things.
Right.
So the British freaking came, stole everything they can steal.
Right.
So India is still nowadays recovering from what those people stole from.
Right. And the rich people, the rich Hindus, are acting like they were English.
Yeah, they're English more than actually English.
Right. Yes, exactly.
They wanna be so freaking English. They're a little silly in their attempts.
Yep. Yeah. So that's the basic story. But your old Al Bob here tells you stories about the past, which has been this way forever. So it's not like anything new. The real new thing, and this is my question I put to you. What are you going to do with the new year? Because this is a great opportunity to not do the same old thing. So, yeah, you're going to travel all the world. What are you going to do to bring love and peace to everyone? Now, you already do just by your presence, but you have to step up a little bit. What more can you do?
Oh my God! So you are challenging me. You want me
Yeah,
to do something?
yeah, I want you to do. I mean, you already do. I mean, wherever you go, there you are, and you do stuff. So I know that, but you got to go a little further.
So do you know that I never told you, but I am suffering from the shortage of two genes. You know, I'm chronical. The doctor told me this is really chronical. He said, "Do you want some pills?" I said, "No, no, no. I'm perfectly okay."
Yeah.
So you know, doing stuff. Well, what I'll try to do is make a less nuisance out to myself. Would that help?
Oh yes, no, that's a big plus. No,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. Okay, so I'll try to make a little less asshole myself.
Yes.
So that should do the trick, I think.
And you know the best way to do things like when people, oh, I'm gonna like lose weight, I'm gonna stop smoking, I'm gonna do all those, right? Well, to do those, you have to put something in their place. So yeah, so being less of an asshole is very good, but you have to put something in its place, like being more conscious of the other person.
Man, you are really challenging me. You really want me to be a nice guy this year? What kind of a show is this, man? No, man, this is not. I didn't sign up for this. Oh my God! I thought you are a nice guy. You are on my side.
I just want you to be your best.
Oh my God! You sound like my wife now.
No, your wife.
So anyhow, this is what you are talking about is really true. You should go maybe extra mile to try to help. Speaking of which, the other day I donated Shriners Hospital. You know, I felt they have a little commercial on the. I always give them the money, but this time I give them a little extra. How about that?
Good.
Are you familiar with Shriners people?
Oh yeah. Danny Thomas's little girl is on the commercial all the time. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. He started that.
Wow, it's really interesting. I used to work for those people. That's how I know I'm aware of them.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I used to work for them in Hawaii. I'll tell you the story. I almost got caught. They thought I was molesting somebody, and there was a girl of age. She was not underage, so she wanted to do a little thing here and there. So I almost got I almost got caught there.
Well, you know, your shtick can be misconstrued very easily.
Well, yeah, true. And honestly speaking, between you and me, I'm shocked that it has not been as of yet. I mean, I go. You know me. I live on the edge. I like to push the envelope.
Right.
And I'm surprised that I still haven't been. My ass hasn't been, in the slammer or something.
Right. Well, you know, they don't want to put you there. You'd be more trouble there than out and around.
Well, why don't you talk to me about yourself, young man?
Oh, well, it's a beautiful day right now. We have been very blessed by dodging the bullet of winter. So there's a big snowstorm. Did you get any of that snowstorm?
They are talking about that, but not yet.
Right. So that's supposed to, it's really going to split right around us, and half of it's going to go down along the East Coast and the other up to Buffalo. And right now it's a beautiful sunny day. I think we might get rain tomorrow, but that's about it. And so it's been cold. Like this morning, it was about 6 degrees. And you know, like where you slept when you visited me? It was 6 degrees there.
Whoa, that's chilly.
Yeah, you would have had ice on your ding dong if you were here now. But we would put you someplace. I would stick you in the man cave on some cardboard boxes, like other, most.
Oh, that'd be too much class for me. I don't think I could handle it.
True. I mean, back in the day when we tried to get homeless people into their own place, they were so acute at sleeping on cardboard that it took some doing getting them into bed.
Yeah.
So yes, and there's a lot more homeless people around here. We're being redlined, and the rich people are coming in. This guy came in, and he bought right at the right time, like 6 years ago, 140 acres of unbelievable land that this rich lady bought like back in the 60s, right? So she built herself a nice big house like in the 70s, and he bought it, and he is increasing it by, it was already maybe a 4,000 square foot rich person's house. and he is increasing it to 11,000 square feet.
Whoa.
And it's just for him and his wife.
Oh my God.
Yeah, yeah.
What's the point?
Well, to show how rich he is and how much he can get over. So he bought this piece of property, I don't know, maybe 300,000 plus the house, right?
Uh-huh.
And this is back when interest rates were zero. He probably got a mortgage and an extra 200 or 300 for, working on stuff. And so we had a big surge, and there are a lot of guys who got all set up to do carpentry and build houses, and then it kind of died this year. So he's got a couple of contractors, over a barrel, having him build this monolith, and and he's, said, oh yeah, I'm just like one of the, he's a Texas oil insurance banker lawyer.
Uh-huh.
I mean, all the worst things you could ever be. And
Uh-huh.
that is, he ain't the only one. There's 6 other guys just like him from Texas that came and just bought up gigantic swamps for nothing.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
So that's kind of what's going on around me. So I don't see them much, but they are affecting because they want this and that. The one county road we have now is like a railroad train of tractor trailers. And you saw the road I live on. It swerves
Yeah.
all over the place, goes up and down, around the lake, right?
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you noticed how many tractor trailers, but man, if you go out there between 8 a.m. and 11, that road is full of tractor trailers. Then they're not there so much after 10:30. And then around 2, they're coming back the other way. So it's so it's a heralding of what's coming. And where I live, it is so sensitive that if you build another Walmart in where you live, no one would even notice, right? It's no big deal.
Right.
Around us, ooh baby. So anyway, that's the dynamic, and I'm trying to get churches to work for homeless people, and I've been talking to them about it for years. And they basically, oh no, that we have no colored people here, we have no drug addicts here, but they do. I mean, you remember right when we drove by my driveway and all those tweakers were hanging out by the bus,
Yeah.
and I pretended I was going to drive over them, and you got out and was really sweet and nice, and we went up to the military reserve on top of the hill, and you kind of so those are the kind of folks, right? And so that. There was, Grandpa Cockroach and Colonel Sanders, who thought they were rich and owned slaves. All those other people who look, like tweakers, they were, and that's their slaves. And now that those people are Grandpa and Colonel Sanders on the scene, they're around, but they're not there. Those people left, but so where did those people go? They went out into the woods.
Uh-huh.
And so that's like the stinky socks of those people. But the other people are homeless moms and kids. So, and the churches aren't really stepping up to that. And they don't like it when I talk about how Jesus hung out with the poor and the prostitutes and the criminals.
You don't get many likes for that comment?
No, not many likes. Actually, I don't know how, but one of my shows was taken away because it said I was prescribing things, right? I don't prescribe nothing. This is just for fun, right? Right?
So are you saying that Jesus was a big man because he hang out with prostitutes and the criminals, all that stuff?
Right.
Well, how about me, man? I do the same thing.
Yeah, you do. No, no. You are so bourgeois. No, even though you sleep in the airport, you sleep in the first class section where they have the nice chairs that people wait on.
I'm bourgeois, even for bourgeois.
Oh, I'm bourgeois. I'm beyond bourgeois. I'm elitist.
Yeah, okay.
That's where I grew up. I went to school with all those clowns.
Yeah.
Eddie Merrill, Ricky Litch, Al Forbes, UB Hobart, every large corporation I went to school with their kids. Joe Kennedy, who became a senator, not a congressman. He was my roommate.
Really?
Yeah. Shah Iran's son went to school, our school. Yeah.
Wow, interesting, man. You have some interesting.
Like I said, I grew up in the elitist crowd.
Okay, yeah, that's why I have this this snobbishness about you. Yeah.
But I would never
Yeah.
shut up. You know, one of my, so all our teachers were like ex-CIA guys, ex-diplomats, college professors. And this one guy who was a pretty righteous guy, he says, you know, Al, you're the only guy I've ever met who can't help himself but keeps telling truth to power. Now, all the guys you go to school with, they are the power. They don't care. They just, I mean, this one guy, Perry Dye, his family owned Seagram's, you know, the distillery, big time. Right? And when we graduated high school, we didn't, you know, it was an all boys school, so we didn't have a prom. He bought himself a 727, you know, a commercial airliner as his private jet, and he bought himself the most high-end escort. You know, well, so he was the guy who had the first Lolita Express, and the first Lolita Express was us going to this, you know, escort place he bought in Santo Domingo, and had like a month of untested debauchery and hedonism, and that's how those guys live all the time. And it wasn't like, oh no, I can't do this. No, I was there. I had a good time. I just made sure I got the oldest escort, you know, that she was 23, you know.
Yeah, you got standards, huh?
Yep. So,
Oh my God.
You know, it was what it was, and when I talked to God about that, He goes, "No, you need to do that to just get an idea of what it is, you know." Sin is almost irrelevant because the only sin there is when you disconnect from God.
So listen,
Yes.
You were never really bad, man. I mean, you were not never living in like what they call that.
No. I was around really bad stuff. I was hanging out with really bad people. But all that's very subjective. What's bad, you know? These guys were all family guys, blah blah blah, and yeah. But I had I have my guardrails. You know, doctor, do no harm. Don't get involved unless you're going to help someone. Don't get involved unless you can learn something. You know, never take advantage of others. You know, that's
your motto. That has always been your motto.
Yep, and that's been very good. Kept me out of harm's way. Oh, really? I can pretty much go into anything, not worry about dying or any of the above, right? So, okay, when are you taking off?
Excuse me?
When are you leaving? You said you're buying a ticket tomorrow.
About 20, between 20 and 23rd. I have to decide today. That's of my life. Between 20 and 23rd. That's the time. Okay.
So how is the Queen doing?
The Queen has this new job. She's pretty happy so far.
Was she happy to see you after all those weeks?
She was there for about half an hour.
Yeah. Well, that's good. That's good. You had a baseline to work from.
Yeah. So before I forget, so you are through with your doctor stuff, right?
What was that?
Are you through with your doctor stuff?
Yeah, for the time being, yeah. I had my last round of being looked at. In spring, they'll look at me again. I mean, that's really, if we had a medical system that did that, we'd have half of the sick people. Because if you catch stuff before it gets really bad, it's not a big deal. So about every 4 months, I go get checked. Every time I take blood pressure and a few other drugs that everyone my age takes. And when I have to, in between, get them refilled, I will drop by those guys. And they will do stuff like take my blood pressure, my temperature, my oxygen level, a few other things. And those are very good barometers of how you're doing. So I'm usually doing pretty good. And so, That's about it. So if everyone did that instead of waiting until they got influenza or any of the above, and the other thing is if people only washed their hands and didn't pick their nose, they would cut down on disease by 20%.
Uh-huh.
So anyway, that's basically the storyline. Oh, what else can I say? That's about it. You got anything to add?
Okay. Okay. All right. No, listen.
Yep.
Can't we, honestly speaking, I was in the middle of doing something when you called me, but I want to be on radio and keep me so bad that I stopped everything. But now, call me some other time. I'll have more time to.
Okay. Yeah. I'll call you before you go, and so you're leaving around the 20th. So I'll call you before the 20th.
Fair enough.
Okay, buddy.
All right.
Say hi to the Queen and everybody else.
Okay. Thanks a lot, man. Bye.
Yep. Well, that was the gang. So let's see. I have to go to little boy's room, so I'm going to leave you with something.
I'll take the people and you take the stuff. How does that sound, Abram? Abram says absolutely not.
I'll be right back.
He accepts nothing. And then turns to this mysterious man, the Melchizedek, king of righteousness. He's the king of Salem or Jerusalem,
Go look up
king of peace.
Melchizedek in the Bible.
He doesn't want anything to do with the king of Sodom,
Reincarnated.
and yet he pays tribute to this man Melchizedek. I think he's showing us several things. Here would be the foremost. That the blessings of God may come through the world, but they must not entangle us with the world. Because I think a fair question to ask is this. Why is Abram willing to accept the wealth of Pharaoh in chapter 12, but not willing to accept all that he has rightfully earned here in chapter 14? Could it be he wants nothing to do with Sodom in any way, which I think is true. He looks at the king of Sodom. I don't want anything. I don't want the people. I don't want a shoelace. I don't want a crumb. I want nothing, lest anybody look at me and say, oh, Abram, you're only rich because of Sodom. He doesn't want to be entangled with this ungodly and wicked nation in any way. And so he says, no, thank you. Abram's faith is tested here. Was he going to go and help his brother, his nephew Lot? And now that he has the success, who's he going to pay tribute to? Is he going to see the wealth that could be rightfully his? And is he going to give the tribute to the Melchizedek that he rightfully deserves? You know, very often in the Old Testament, we're going to see that faith is tested in battle. So are God's people going to be courageous? Are they going to see that God's going to be with us against this foe? Or are we going to trust him? Or are we going to trust in ourselves or in something else? It's a constant thing. And sometimes they get it right. Sometimes they get it wrong. You know, for us in the church today, there are battles, no doubt, but often more spiritual in nature than physical in nature. Yes, these physical battles were spiritual battles in a sense, but for us, it's not, are we going to form an army and go out against the Philistines? It's what are the theological issues that are at our gates, and are we going to fight that battle? You know, all of us in the PCA, we are grateful, very grateful, particularly us pastors, for men such as D. James Kennedy and Jack Williamson, Kennedy Smart and Jim Baird and Frank Barker. Men that helped lead our denomination, the PCA, through a split. We split away from the PCUS in 1973 and formed what, if you don't know, you're in a PCA church. That's our denomination. And the battle that they were fighting was this. Is the Bible God's word, all of it, or does it just contain God's word? It's in here somewhere. We just might disagree about what it is. And they said, no, it doesn't contain God's word. All of it is God's word. Because if it just contains God's word, the obvious question next would be, well, who gets to decide what is and what is not? No, all of it is, and it is judging us, not us judging it. By God's grace, that's not really our issue today in the PCA. The issue has changed. In fact, it's a little bit more subtle, I think. The battle that we are facing now as pastors and as members of this denomination is not, is this God's word? We basically all agree that it is. The new issue is the Bible sufficient for us? Does it really talk about all the things that we need it to? Or do we need to invite in other professionals and other literature from other places to help us understand the times in which we live? No, we do not. Is this really our only infallible rule of faith and practice, as the Westminster Shorter Catechism says that it is? Yes, it is our only infallible rule of faith and practice. Is God's word enough, in other words? Does it really speak to the issues of our day and help us know God's will for us? Yes, it does. That is where we need to be faithful today, is believing that it's authoritative into our life and sufficient for us. You see in chapter 13 and chapter 14 of Genesis, two contrasting styles, if you will, of Abram. In chapter 13, it was Lot, you pick. Almost as if faithfulness there was a passive thing for Abram. Lot, you choose which direction you want to go. In chapter 14, it's completely different, isn't it? It's not, well, we'll sit back and see what happens with all this conflict. No, this is an active obedience on behalf of Abram. So which one is it to be for us? Are we to be passively obedient? Are we to always wait? Are we always to be patient? Or are we to be active and courageous and bold? Yes.
Yes.
That's sometimes the hard part of the Christian life, isn't it? What do you want me to be? Am I to wait, or am I to be bold? Am I to sit back and see how things play out, or you want me to go?
Yes. Not just Christian, but Jew, Muslim, and Hindu, Sikh, and Buddhist. What I'm reading these days is this book. A Lost Key to Buddha. The Lost Key of the Buddha. You are the Buddha. Right? So, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and welcome to Dreamy Dreamland. We've been on the air now some 37 minutes and 37 seconds. I love it when that happens.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, so this year is the year that you are going to be consciously aware of what you're doing. Right? You know, every day and every way, you're going to take the piece of the earth and you're going to make it strong. In your everyday, you don't have to go become Gandhi. You can be your best right where you're at, whatever you do. Anyway, so you guys go to school at App? Do you guys go to school at App?
No, we skipped school, went to the trade. Yeah.
What trade?
Electrician.
Oh, I'm a master electrician in New York City, Local 3, IBEW. Yep. I worked on the World Trade Center.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
So I know that those airplanes never took those buildings down. There was most steel buildings have beams in them holding up the floors. This had an outside skeleton we called the divert cage that held those floors. The more weight down on them, the stronger they became. So if one of those floors hit that one, it would just make it stronger. So you probably weren't even born when this happened, but they show the video of the towers coming down over and over, like every 30 seconds for like 3 weeks. And the buildings turned into dust.
Oh, yeah.
One gigantic crunch, it was dust.
Just dust.
You just can't get dust from concrete floors. You'd have gigantic smashing into buildings, crushing people every which way. And there's something else going on there. So, and that is, how old are you guys? 20-something?
22.
Yeah. So you have a good, like I'm in my 80s, You at least have another 60 years to deal with this. I mean, by 2050, it's going to be 85 degrees out there right now, right? And in summertime, there would be no trees left, right? You guys,
Yeah, good.
yeah, well,
Have a good one.
look forward for the next 50 years.
Yeah, we're
Do-
gonna stick to it.
Do
Sure.
something about it. Become a better guy. Let's see your palm. The hand you right with. Honest as day is long. Pretty even temper because you don't care. Turn your hand around this way. Pretty smart. So you're an electrician?
Yeah.
What do you mostly wire?
We do a little bit of commercial, but mostly residential.
Right, just houses, Romex
Yeah,
holes, right? You don't get into controls or, simple stuff,
Yeah,
right?
most of the time.
You're not
We do
doing-
a little bit of three-phase
Yeah,
sometimes, a little bit. But...
That's all I did high tension.
Oh, really?
Big factories that had high voltage
Right.
everywhere,
Right.
transformer, 500 horse
Right.
motor.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot. There's a lot that goes into that.
No kidding. You got to be like a rocket scientist.
Yeah, that's for sure. Well, have a
You
good
will
one.
do well.
You too, man.
Okay. They sure didn't want to hear from me. And they were electricians. They weren't brother electricians, though. Once, when I told them my pedigree, they were like, whoa. Nobody wants to hear this stuff. You guys do, the three of you. That's right. And there's three. Thank you very much. If you guys could go get 3 friends to subscribe, that would go get 3 friends of theirs to subscribe, who would go get 3 friends of theirs to subscribe, we might get somewhere. But it's no big deal because I am your shamanic griot here to tell you a story. And don't believe a word I say, It's all here for laughs and giggles. Let's who else we can talk to. Let's see. Yeah. Hey, handsome, we're live on the show. Do you want to be part? Okay, you don't have to, do anything other. You don't. I just wanted to tell you because here we are.
Well, check this out.
Yes, we're calling up.
Now we're going to go to a new level of intimacy with you and your
Yeah.
audience.
And what intimacy is that?
I'm taking a dump.
Oh, one of God's greatest pleasures. It really, elimination, evacuation is the best thing humans do. The problem with humans is that they don't evacuate enough. You still there,
Well,
Slim?
I'm still there. I didn't fall in. Well, I got a case of Metamucil, so that helps.
Well, prunes and prune juice do pretty good for me. Plus, my blood pressure medicine can make you constipated sometimes. So I've had 5 different cups of coffee this morning. So I'm definitely.
Yeah, I've only had the one, but it's definitely doing a number.
Anyway, so here it is, the New Year's. What New Year's resolutions have you made, or thinking of making, or have been making for the last 6 months?
More exercise and health, and more prayer.
Really, people do. You don't have to go to the gym at work. Get up every 15 minutes and walk around the office and come back to your seat. The more you can get out of that, the thing that kills us is sitting down.
Oh God, yeah, I know.
And you got a job where you're sitting down a lot, so.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
Yes, baby. So if you got your.
Yeah.
And that's it. Just every 20 minutes, get up, walk around for 3, say hi to everyone. I would bet you would get a raise because, he's so he's such a team player. He talks to everyone. Look at him, right? So then you
That
could do
certainly
even
would
less
help.
work. Then you could do even less work.
I hear that.
Yep. So yes, that's a good thing. Keeping your body in shape, and that's why I live where I live. I cut out all the convenience out of my life, and
So
when
you
you
have
have
to
no
walk
convenience,
everywhere.
you got to walk a few more steps.
Yeah, no, that's good. I walk every morning, but even though that's just one walk, I'm sitting at a desk for 8 hours, so
Like I said,
to,
every 15, 20 minutes, get
to
up,
move
walk
every
a few
15,
minutes,
20 minutes is probably the smart idea.
But the walk to work is a good one too.
Well, I don't walk to work, but I walk a considerable ways from my place to
How
Long
close are
Island
you
City.
to the Brooklyn or Manhattan Bridge?
From my house or
Yeah,
from my
yeah,
job?
From your house. Well, from
Well,
both.
I'm in Queens, so that's pretty
Oh,
far.
that's pretty far. You couldn't walk. I used to live, right at that place where the Brooklyn Queens Expressway is, where you get on the Brooklyn Bridge, the Manhattan Bridge, that little triangle, and the watchtower is there, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go.
Okay.
All right, bye.
Okay. He actually had to go. So, meaning he probably had to, had to go. And so what I was talking about was I lived in this neighborhood that had been built up since as factory buildings right along the East River over in Queens, actually in Brooklyn, Queens, Brooklyn, right on that edge, right where the Brooklyn Navy Yard is, right where Fort Hamilton is, right where Manhattan Bridge is here that goes on the on that side of Queens into Canal Street that goes down to Manhattan Tunnel and goes out to New Jersey, right? A major thoroughfare, right? That's where you're on 95 going through New York. That's one of the ways they take everything from, Maine, Massachusetts on 95. There is a 95 portion that takes you over the Bronx Next Bridge, which is where the and the George Washington Bridge, heavier traffic. But the New Jersey coastal side of the 95, where the airport is and all that, that's through that tunnel. So anyway, Lincoln Tunnel. So I used to live on the Queens, Brooklyn side. Gowanus was right above. That's where PS1 was. I was living there. And these are all infamous places now of art and culture. And I lived in this section. There were, I think, 20 of these red concrete brick factory buildings that were amazing because all of the roads that were there, it was all there to make widgets to put in the Liberty ships that they were building in the Brooklyn Navy. That's what they built there. And they popped them out like cars. They were popping out Liberty ships, 2 a day, right? Not complete, but the superstructure and the major items in there. And so all of the subcomponents were being built in those factories and just trucked right over there and put in. So the supply chain was like right there. And a good deal of the widgets that went into the component parts were made there too. So these were a really nice, big, open, bright factory buildings. Now we're right next to each other, right there on the river, and materials would be brought in on the boats and offloaded right to these factories. So it was a severe connected supply chain, and the buildings were built exactly for that, like the terminal, the Brooklyn military terminal. Every bomb, bullet, tank, plane that went to Europe went through that. Every body that came home went through that. And that's also right in that neck of the woods. And that's where we had the terminal show in the mid 80s and early 80s. And so I lived in that neck of the woods a number of times because I worked for real estate guys who would buy these buildings. This one guy who bankrolled Ivan Karp and Brooke Alexander and Mary Boone and a few others, money behind those guys. They were the poster children that started all of that, but not really. And these real estate guys bought this stuff in the 60s when it was really dirt cheap. Because the United States started going bankrupt because of Vietnam War and Korean War and the Second World War. Around 58, and when that's why Eisenhower gave that speech about the military industrial complex. He said, guys, we're spending inordinate amount of money to GDP, and none of this stuff makes anything, doesn't put anything positively on the GDP. It just brings debt, makes certain corporations a lot of money. Military industrial complex, and he explained it. Every aircraft carrier has 6 high schools and 2 hospitals. I mean, he went that route, right? And basically, we haven't stopped spending enough, and we're spending on a lot of stuff you don't even know. I mean, like, every bomb, bullet, and tank that goes in the front door of Ukraine, I'm sure about a third of the stuff goes out the back door, right? And I wouldn't be surprised if when stuff really pops off in there in the strip and in Lebanon, that a lot of those weapons will show up there, especially man pads, right? But right now, Israel can, bomb the crap out of the strip. This is no one shooting down the airplanes. Get a few man pads there, see what happens, right? Because on the ground, they're not doing so good, right? They're losing the war, actually, strategically. Yeah, they're turning the place to dust and making it so no one can ever live there. And the rest of the world will come in and build 15-minute towns all over that place and put up, solar panels and all kinds of stuff and capturing moisture in the air for them to drink, all that kind of good stuff. Test bed for what the rest of the world is going to experience, because the United States is going to have its own, whether it's Biden or Carrot Head or another entity comes and gets voted in this next time. Well, we're going to have our own Gaza Strip, 800 miles long, 2 miles wide, all along the southern border. And then we're going to just take every illegal alien that's coming in and everyone we can grab and throw in there, and we will build apartments and factory buildings and farms, and they will be because given if you did it right along the waterways there, you could grow a lot of food if you did it, industrially in an organic kind of way, right? So that's the motif of this coming year of the corporate world. And the wars that are on the hot plate, the what's going on in Africa is because they're fighting in all the places where there's more oil in Africa than there is in the Middle East, right? And Nigeria is a good example. And look what has happened to poor Nigeria. Those people should be rich, but they're some of the poorest. Right? Yeah, they got rid of the European imperialists, but they now have the corporate imperialists. Same as it ever was, right? And this isn't a medical prescription. I do not give any prescriptions. All I have is opinions. Don't believe a word I say. Right? But want to get a hold of me? Get a hold of me at the Dude Awake 42 at Gmail. The Dude Awake 42 at Gmail. Right? You go to PayPal. I fix that up. You can put stuff in there if you want. PayPal. Dude Awake 42 at Gmail. Dude Awake 42 at Gmail. Want to talk to me? You have any issues? You just want me and you? 42 at Gmail. Right? What else? What time is it? 12:53. We could go listen to Amy. I have definitely eaten everything I need to eat today. I have a few errands to run. I'll do that. I'll talk to how much juice do I have left here? Oh, about 20 minutes. Let's see. How am I, Bill?
I handed it to
I
you.
don't know.
Yeah, it's right here. There you go.
Just fine.
Do you want coffee?
You can empty that out and put a here. Let's do this. Still has goodness to it. So one battle.
Okay. I will bring it. I'll bring it. How's that?
That's a good idea.
Broadcast, but Tony always said it was, them. They permitted them. Then when the demons out of the man entered into the swine, the herd went violently down the steep place into the lake, and they were choked. And they that fed and saw what was done, they fled and went and told in the city and in the country. And he obviously becomes very unpopular because he affected the economy of that region. So anyway, and I don't want to make this all city demonology, but I do want you to sense of the fact that demons seem to be something quite different than what you and I think of as angels. So there are those that make a big claim of that difference, which raises a bizarre question: where do the demons come from? If they're not angels, what are they? Where do they come from? And there are all kinds of bizarre ideas that have no scriptural basis, that are really built within the gaps, if you will, from what we do understand. There are those that believe that there was a pre-Adamite creation that was destroyed and judged, and the demons are the disembodied spirits of that particular creation. There's no spiritual evidence for that. They place all this hypothesis between Genesis 1:1 and 1:2. That's part of the gap theory that gets way out in left field. It has only one problem: there's no basis for it. That doesn't mean it's right or wrong. You can't tell. It's just somebody's idea. But there is apparently some difference between demons and angels, and so in that whole thing, you can spend if you've got nothing to talk about over a cup of coffee, piece of pie at 2 a.m. You can argue about whether demons and angels are the same thing. Now, actually, I personally believe that there's a large hierarchy of all kinds of these creatures. In the Old Testament, we have the Shittim, the Skirim, the Lilith, the Thissim, and some others. And they're all translated in the Septuagint as demons, but they're different Hebrew words. And the Shittim are the mighty ones, and they show up in Deuteronomy 32:17. The Skirim are he-goats or satyrs. They're hairy creatures that are, but they're demonic, but they were embodied in legends as the satyrs and so forth. And the others have other names, and they have slightly different attributes. But when we speak in the New Testament, principalities and powers and so forth, those are ranks, if you will. And so angels apparently come in different kinds, and it could very well be that the demons are no more than a, if you will, a disembodied spirit that is part of that rebellion that we read about in Revelation 12. So, with all this digression, you say, we now are equipped. Incidentally, we talked about the second.
So what year are you in?
Item 1 was, you can't tell about what verse 6 means in Jude. Item 2 was, it has to do with the fall of Satan and the angels.
One is, do you have any teachers that you've had this semester that you like? Did you have any teachers that you liked?
Yes, I did.
Well, okay, if you have a good relationship with them, make them your mentor.
Okay.
Go and talk to them at least once a week.
Okay.
Right? But do you have them for any, have you signed up for your new?
Yes, I have her for my next semester class too.
So you have them for this, right? So use and keep that
Okay.
and keep this.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Do you need your receipt?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And
Thank you.
so make a real good relationship. And when you get any assignment, right? Do you like writing papers?
Yeah, I can. It is for the right thing.
So you get the assignment. You start right then. So they're giving you an assignment. You have a little notebook that you carry around with you all the time. You find something that it's like a real notebook, and you write down, if they're giving you what assignment is, you write down questions. What do you want to know about this? What should I do about, what book should I read? Right? End of class, you go straight to that teacher. So what's this? What's this? What's this? And fill that in, right?
Okay.
And what direction should my outline be? Now, what do you want me to really look at? Right? Write that down. You go take a look at the library, the books. Give me 3 books I can find in the library. It's not my textbook. right? And you go, you just kind of flip through them, stop and point and read that paragraph. And that'll be the paragraph you need. You write down what you think about that. And then you write a loose outline of what you're going to write about. You come back that next class day, right? And say, what do you think of this? Can I, well, after class, once you already know when they're, because every teacher has an hour.
Yeah.
You go then and say, hey, what about this? That first time, when they give the, don't wait for the hour, ask it right then and there, right? The next time, go when they have the hour, say, I wrote my outline, what do you think? They say, this is good, this is bad, think about this, da da da. Write a rough outline of what you're going to do. What do you think about that? This is good, this is bad, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. So by the time the thing ain't due for another 2 weeks, you've got it done.
That's true. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And they hand it in. Now that person is real fresh. And they're not upset. They're not like this. I can't stand these kids. They're so stupid. You're the first one. Oh wow. Oh yeah. This is, and you're just giving them exactly what they told you to write.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they're going, wow, yes, A++.
Well, thank you for that.
Use
That's good advice.
that. And the other thing, how you doing? How do you do with tests and quiz?
I honestly do pretty good.
Then don't worry about it. But if you didn't, you go to them and say, listen, I'm not great at tests and quiz. And we talk about it. And you can see what I know about the subject. And you can still do it.
Yeah.
That way you get a 4.0. And as a freshman, if you get a 4.0 in everything, how many classes are you taking?
5.
It's a bit much.
Yeah, I might. If you, yeah, you're good. You're good.
You got a big line going.
Just take, you pick 5, pick the 4 that
Yeah.
you'll really like.
Yeah.
But see, this is the most important. If you get a 4.0 average or a 3.9, you could die and still graduate with a 3.0.
Oh yeah.
Because they just keep dividing it into the last until the first is the most important.
It is.
So if you get, so what was your GPA?
It's a 3.5 right now.
Yeah, you're doing great. If you got a 4.0, you could go to Bermuda for the rest of your
Yeah.
college career. Now that's the other thing. Get some good mentors and get them to send you to foreign lands by your junior year.
Yeah. I plan on it.
Yes, because if they can send you off to a school, I did it for 30 years. They sent me to schools around the world. I didn't pay a nickel. They, after a while, they actually paid for me to go.
That's so nice.
You can do that.
I hope so.
No.
Yes, I can.
Yes,
I can.
you-
I can.
And you are. You do, you don't try. You do. You can fail. That's good. You learned something.
Yeah.
You know? No one's perfect. You can't be perfect. But you can do your best.
Well, thank you.
If anything you get out of this, it's to do your best. And you already do it. So
I will.
just
I
be
will.
what? Conscious what?
Intent I
You
am.
got it.
Thank you.
Yeah, baby. So that's what I do. Was that a prescription? You could have blocked this show. All right. 4, are you going to dump me into the high end of the YouTube algorithm where, like, by the end of this way, 75 million people have watched this show? There's a crowd. Anyway, what else can I say? How much juice we got left? Oh, we're getting down there. Oh, so I hope you enjoyed the show so far. And 1 hour and 3 minutes and 57 seconds. I have things to do. So let's see if we can find one last thing here.
How'd you do that? I don't understand how
Don't you beat the people. Always a waste of time. Let's go play mahjong with Montes. We might win $300.
You see a basement full of chatty old women. I see a complex network of relationships, favors, and debts.
They're gossips. Spies.
If you want to know about politics, you go to Mrs. Check. She works at the mayor's office. And if you want to know about the church, ask Mrs. Fu. Her husband is the
So that lady was like my mom. That was my mom. This politician.
Atlanta, and the author of the novel Midas and the poetry and short story collection Conduit. This episode of the Moth Radio Hour was produced by me, Jay Allison, Catherine Burns, and Meg Bowles. Co-producer is Vicki Merrick. Associate producer Emily Couch. The stories were directed by Meg Bowles and Michelle Jolowski. The rest of the Moss leadership team includes Sarah Haberman, Sarah Austin Jeunesse, Jennifer Hickson, Kate Tellers, Jennifer Birmingham, Marina Kuche, Leanne Gully, Suzanne Russ, Brandon Grant, Ika Wazowski, Sarah Jane Johnson, and Olvi Casa. Special thanks to everyone at our British publisher, Short Books. All stories are true as remembered and affirmed by the storytellers. Our theme music is by The Drift. Other music in this hour from Marissa Anderson, Dee Horns, Human Laws. We receive funding from the National Endowment for the Arts. The Moth Radio Hour is produced by Atlantic Public Media in Woods Hole, Massachusetts, and presented by PRX. For more about our podcast, for information on pitching us your own story, and everything else, go to our website, themoth.org.
We go straight into alternative radio with David Bunsen.
Coming to you from the campus of East Tennessee State University, this is WETS
This is good radio.
and WETS FM, Johnson City, Tennessee.
Church history and its role in the world today, as well as generational indigenous trauma, cannot be understood without dealing with genocide that the United States committed against indigenous peoples. Within the logic of settler colonialism, genocide was the inherent overall policy of the United States from its founding.
That's Roxanne Dunbar Ortiz, and this is Alternative Radio. I'm David Barsamian. This edition of AR features Roxanne Dunbar Ortiz on genocide and settler colonialism. Genocide is the most heinous of crimes, and it connects to settler colonialism. Historian Roxanne Dunbar Ortiz says, settler colonialism requires genocidal violence to attain its goal of acquiring land. In North America and elsewhere, this meant the indigenous population was targeted for mass murder. In Germany, there was the Nazi quest for Lebensraum, living space in Eastern Europe. It's interesting to see the parallels. The U.S. General William Sherman said in 1873, "We must act with vindictive earnestness against the Sioux, even to their extermination, men, women, and children." 70 years later, in 1943, Heinrich Himmler, the notorious SS commander, said, Dunbar Ortiz. She grew up in rural Oklahoma, the daughter of a tenant farmer and part Indian mother. A distinguished scholar, she's been active in the international indigenous movement for many years. She's the recipient of the Lannan Cultural Freedom Award. She's the author of a number of books, including An Indigenous People's History of the United States, winner of the American Book Award. This AR classic was recorded in 2015. She spoke at Simon Fraser University in Burnaby, British Columbia. And now, Roxanne Dunbar Ortiz.
United States government policies and actions related to indigenous peoples, though often termed racist or discriminatory, are rarely depicted as what they are, classic cases of imperialism and a particular form of settler colonialism. Australian anthropologist Patrick Wolf has written several books. He has another one coming out in a journal. They helped start on settler colonialism, which has really benefited the discussions that we didn't exactly have. We called it colonialism in the 70s, but we're looking at national liberation movements in Africa and all. I think we have a clear understanding of this type of colonialism now, settler colonialism. And Wolf says the question of genocide is never far from discussions of settler colonialism. Land is life, or at least land is necessary for life. The history of the United States, and I dare say Canada, is a history of settler colonialism. The objective of U.S. authorities was to terminate their existence as peoples, not as random individuals, and this is the very definition of modern genocide. Settler colonialism requires violence or the threat of violence to attain its goals, which then form the foundations of the United States system, United Nations too. In employing the force necessary to accomplish its expansion of goals, the colonizing regime institutionalizes violence. The notion that settler-indigenous conflict is an inevitable product of cultural differences and misunderstandings, or that violence was committed equally by the colonized and the colonizer, blurs the nature of the historical processes. Euro-American colonialism, an aspect of capitalist economic globalization, had from its beginnings a genocidal intent, as inscribed in the papal bulls of the 15th century that produced the legalistic foundation for the first law of nations in the form of the doctrine of discovery. Doctrine of discovery also mandated African slavery in a papal bull of 1455. That was the first one to be able to conquer, occupy, and take into slavery every person that could be caught in West Africa and shipped to the slave auctions in Lisbon. So what constitutes genocide? Historian Gary Clayton Anderson teaches the Native Studies courses at University of Oklahoma, that colonial institution in the state I come from. He's written a recent book called Ethnic Cleansing and the Indian. The whole book, about a 500-page book, is a litany of horrible violations against Native people by the United States government. But his conclusion is that genocide will never become a widely accepted characterization for what happened in North America, because large numbers of Indians survived, and because policies of mass murder on a scale similar to events in Central Europe, Cambodia, or Rwanda were never implemented. He also argues that genocide did not occur in the United States primarily because moral restraints prevented it. Another scholar, a professor of criminology and criminal justice, Alex Alvarez, in his recent book, genocide did occur, but that it is not included in, he claims it's not included in the UN Convention on the Prevention and Punishment of the Crime of Genocide. So there are fatal errors in those assessments, and their convoluted attempts to remove genocide as a concept that fits what the United States government carried out, both of them admitting to many crimes and abuses. Following the Shoah or Holocaust, Polish lawyer Raphael Lemkin, who had fled the Nazis, ending up in the United States, coined the word genocide. Lemkin argued that the existing laws prohibiting war crimes were not sufficient to deal with targeting of specific groups, which could also occur without war necessarily being like the pogroms of the past that led up to the genocide. He combined the Greek word for race or tribe and the Latin word for killing into the word genocide. He saw genocide as a strategy, not an event. He tirelessly lobbied the new United Nations to produce a convention, and the result was the United Nations Convention presented in 1948 and adopted in 1951, the UN Convention on the Prevention of Punishment.
Okay. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the show. It's been 1 hour and 17 minutes and 17 seconds. Ooh la la. So, tomorrow's supposed to be rainy or snowy, or I'm not going to any place. Maybe I'll see you. But I'll see you. Like 2 or 3 a week is about what you can expect during the winter. Because I have to drive 40 miles. And if you put something in my PayPal, that would help a lot. I love you guys. And remember, my email is thedudeway42@gmail. And when you go to PayPal and they say what email, it's thedudeway42@gmail. Everything, all the little problems with it have been straightened out. It all seems to work. What else can I say? But put something in there and we'll see, right? So, and, any amount is fine by me. And all those who enjoyed, make a comment. Jamie always makes a comment. And you can do it afterwards too. And get those thumbs up, more of that and more subscribers. Go get a friend who will get 3 friends, who will get 3 friends, and we'll have a lot of show watching. Because this year, 2024, is a, they say, oh, this is the most important presidential election. Oh, this is the most blah, blah, blah. Well, it is. Forget all those. It doesn't matter who runs in office because they're all picked. They're all corrupt. That's what Carrot Head says, and he should know. And that's what Biden says, and he should know. So it's like, go look at, Biden has been a senator for almost 60 years, right? He's been in the show for almost 60 years. And you'll see every place that something catastrophic occurred, what the rules that were passed for credit cards, JoJo. Banking decontrol, JoJo. Airlines decontrol, JoJo. Every place that the corporate made trillions of dollars, JoJo. So that's the story. Pretty much every time a Democrat's in power, we have lots of expenditure on military-industrial complex. Clinton was pretty good. At the end of, go take a look at Clinton. He basically got rid of the debt, which showed that it doesn't matter. Our government's debt is irrelevant. It's almost like what money is in the piggy bank. That's the show. And I'm gonna say Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come. Thy will be done. Hallowed be thy name. You've got my back. God's unconditional love and Jesus' unconditional forgiveness. I'm there for you as your creator in every day and every way I take the piece of the earth. In your glory. Not mine. I don't do this for me. I do it for you. So, that's it. See you later. Bye.